do not get pimped out by self-help social media. It's very easy to see the patterns in more mainstream things like, say, business, right? Like everyone sees like the private jet, the business coach, and you're like, okay, that's not entirely reality. Same here. You're like, oh, the letting go coach, has he let go of everything? It's like, no. I'm still on my own journey, still on my own path, way better than before, but ultimately, and this is my view of coaching, is everyone's on their own journey, and it's a never-ending journey, a never-ending story. And as you move along your journey, you share your lessons along the way. And that's what I do, and that's what I've done since 2010. It's, here's where I'm at, and sometimes I'll make mistakes, and I'm like, oh, that was not the most optimal, here's the most optimal. But every single time I come back, and I'm like, here's where I learned, here's where I'm at. And ideally, you could say that's, the ideal social situation or just life situation with friends and acquaintances is that all of you are investing time and energy in different areas of life. Like, what's one of your passions? What do you do for fun? What is something you're really passionate about? Acting, okay? You've probably invested a lot more time and energy in acting than I did. So in that context, you're the teacher, I'm the student. What's something you've invested a lot of time in? Animation. Same here, I know nothing about animation. You're a teacher, I'm the student. What about you?
Helping people, I don't know, just something.
I'm the teacher, you're the student. Okay. Well, no, I'm just saying, no, but all of you have invested more time and energy in different areas than me. For myself, just due to the way that I live my life, like I'm not special, I'm not better. Like I said, I'm just some dude. But due to the way that I've lived my life, I have invested more time and energy than the average person in this one area. I'm pretty much this one-dimensional being where I'm just self-help, letting go, and anything outside of that, I'm a total noob. Like, for real. Ask me anything, say about sports, I don't know. Anything about politics, I don't know. I'm just self-help, 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 that's it. So ultimately, if you view it that way, and view all coaches that way, it's just people, same as you, they just invested more time. What is a group of friends just hanging out, sharing ideas? It's ultimately people reporting back. It's like you gather around the campfire, and we've all invested time and energy in different areas, and then we share notes. And that's the ideal. And ultimately, that's how you should view coaches, not better than you. It's just, hey, they spent time here, what can I learn from them? I don't want to spend as much time as they did there. I just want the cliff notes, give me the shortcut. And vice versa, right? Well, I want to learn a little bit of animation. I don't want to spend a ton of time. Hey, tell me the top stuff. I don't want to go 3 years of acting classes, give me the top stuff. That's how you live your life. But again, don't fall into the trap of placing people on a pedestal, ever. And don't compare yourself to that fake image of them living up on this pedestal. Because that's what we do. We see the front on social media, and then we compare ourselves with that front, and that's just some unfair comparison. You can't do that. Again, what's most personal is most universal. The same fears like even you had, say up front, I've had. I started off way worse than you. So, but then again, it also gives me insight into what you're going through because I know what it's like. And that's also the thing with coaching is that, for me, I've coached for so long and so many people that the advice you're getting doesn't just come from me in my life. You know that, right? It comes from me in my life and all of the clients that I've coached. The more clients you coach, the more you start seeing different patterns. You see what clicks for one, what doesn't, et cetera, et cetera. The same as learning social skills. You need to talk to a lot of people and you start getting a feel for it. You see the patterns. Coaching, ton of people, patterns, and that's the advice. It comes from that entire group of clients over all the years and myself channeled here. And every year that passes, more clients, better advice. So it's also never ending. My advice 5 years from now will be way better than my advice now. My advice now is way better than 5 years ago. So yes, everyone's like, 5 years from now? But then that's the other thing, is then 10 years from now, it'll be better than the 5 years from now. So it's also one of those where...
And you could die in 3 years, dude.
And you could die. Me, pre-2014, is the most 180 opposite of who I am here today. I knew about spirituality, letting go. I knew about Eckhart Tolle in 2006. And my view from 2006 to 2014, even with meditation, was, it's an excuse for lazy fucks. That's it. And people would tell me, read it, it'll blow your mind. I'm like, meditation? No, it's just action and hustle. But But it did not, I mean, I should have listened, but there was no opening. And that's the thing. You can wish people were, like, I'm sure you know people outside of this who are like, look, read this book, it'll change your life. And they're like, just won't enter. And you can't force it. The willingness has to come from the person. So that was me. And I was deeply on ego, ego, ego. And for me, more than money, it was always validation. So I was chasing validation, 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 and I would not have stopped. I would have let it destroy me. Now, fortunately, the world forced me to stop, where I was posting content online and it was getting all these likes and stuff. And I'm like, it's not enough. It's not fulfilling me. You know what? I need more emotionally charged comments. So I started posting a lot of very polarizing, shock humor content that would get love and hate. But by doing so, a lot of it can be taken out of context. So in the end, what happened is the world said no. I went through, this is 2014, 10 years ago, I went through a worldwide media scandal where more than half the world hated me. I was mentioned in every news article around the world. And if you go on Google right now and you Google the most hated man in the world, you will see my face.
We have the man at the center of this controversy, Julien Blanc, with us here on New Day.
I see some comments from various people here about a fella called Julien Blanc.
Julien Blanc, that's his name.
Julien Blanc.
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 You all know who Julien Blanc,
Yes.
Blanc is? Yes, you do.
2 countries refused me entry where I'm banned for life, not on any facts, but on news quotes. And a lot of it quoted a fake social media account, which wasn't even mine, where instead of Julien with an L, they put a capital I, so you can't tell. But they did fuck up where they put lowercase letter, which wasn't mine, so you can tell the difference. But governments quoted the fake one thinking it was me. Now you can appeal, but it costs hundreds of thousands to $1 million to appeal. So ultimately, and especially for me, being so ego-driven, like me, suddenly you get so much dislike that it left me with 2 options, which is ultimately, if you care about approval, you care about disapproval. So either I'm gonna keep hanging on to this drug and be ego-driven and let this destroy me and die, and that's unfortunately a lot of people, or I can let go. And that was my first glimpse to letting go. It was actually 3 months after that whole scandal. I was in Miami, and I remember looking out in the water, and it was late at night, and I'd have these random moments where I'd just break down in tears. Like my whole identity was just messed with. And I had this kind of vision, hallucination of me just walking out in the water, swimming, and just drowning myself to death. Fortunately, I didn't do it. I know it's dark, but hey, it's only suicide. You know, you never heard this story? Oh yeah, dude, that was my darkest.
I can't imagine one guy hating you.
Dude, no, it was, but I was also a different person. I was, like I said, I was young, ego-driven. I'm not any of the things that were written online. Do not believe the news. But I was a piece of shit. I was a piece of shit. I was doing a lot of shock humor stuff, a lot of sexist, misogynistic jokes. I was never a misogynist though, but I said really fucked up jokes. I'm not proud of it. There's things I'd change, but there's also a lot that was really good and that I'd keep. Everything that was good, and I was teaching confidence, social skills, I kept and I put in my product called High Vibe Communication. That's the best of the best that I taught, but in a healthy way. Because there's many ways of teaching the same thing, right? So no, there's things I would change, but I was nowhere near what the news said. But it messed with me, it really did. And that was the first glimpse I had of just letting go, where instead of walking out, it was like, and it was this weird feeling, and it was like, this is what I've been after all along. What the fuck? Like that fulfillment, I was hoping the validation, the money, the et cetera, the relationships give me, all came from letting go. Now, it wasn't permanent, because then subconscious patterns take over again, but it gave me 2-ish, 3-ish days of just like, and then it gave me the direction. And then from then on, I was like, that's the direction. How do I make this permanent? How do I tap into this? How can I learn more about it? And I just started reflecting on my own life, reflecting on all the clients, the coaching, incorporating it into the coaching, working on it, getting coaches myself, talking to people, reading books, getting all these resources, basically devouring everything and anything in this whole spiritual realm for 2.5 years. And then came out with Transformation Mastery in 2017, which is the foundation of everything that I teach now. But it all came from that. And a little side note with that too, for any of you going through hard times, is realize that one, there's always value in it. And here's the thing, it's like, no matter how messed up that was, because it was so messed up, like I said, messed me up emotionally, mentally, financially. Like I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was terrible. The worst was family too. People would go after my family. I'm like, at least just go after me, not my family. Like doxing my parents and shit, like giving their address away, reporters, it was terrible. But the biggest blessing is that it's such a unique experience, that there's unique insights that no one else has. Meaning for any of you who have, say, social anxiety or fear rejection, have any of you been rejected by the world? Right? You're like, yeah. No, have any of you been rejected by the entire world? No. Have any of you been rejected by as many people as me? No. Now for that reason, I'm an expert in that. And there's unique insights from that. Also unique insights where in order to survive, I couldn't find myself through the eyes of others. Because people are saying, you're this. I'm like, no, I'm not, I'm this. And there's the peer pressure of, no, you're this. I'm like, am I that? No. Know who you are. So much of what I teach here comes from that. And with any situation in life, you can always choose. And remember this, you can get better or get bitter. I could have, and that's the thing, if it didn't happen, I don't think I'd be alive today, to be honest. Because I would have doubled down, I was in a dark place. I would have doubled down on the ego, on the approval. It wouldn't have fulfilled me. And at some point, I would probably just been like, man, food, drinks, drugs, numb, dead. Like nothing. As opposed to now where I'm like married, 2 daughters, family, so fulfilled, all due to that. So in a way it was life saying, hey dude, you're going down the wrong path, fuck that. And I needed something so extreme to have the opening because I wouldn't have otherwise. There's no way. So with anything that doesn't go your way in life, always look for the opening. Be like, what's the lesson? What is there to learn? What are the insights? How can I use this to get better, not bitter? How can I use this so I look back at this event years from now and it's not this horrible thing, but it's this blessing in disguise. And that's why you hear the term blessing in disguise. It's, hey, you want the blessing, you have to let it come to you in disguise. So, and the other thing is, once I started doing the more inner work side, letting go, everything started falling into place and the results shot up. Like my change from, again, 2006 to 2014, so that's 8 years, very hustle, go. Who meditation, who needs that? Versus the change from 2014 to say 2020, or even 2017 when it came out, way more drastic than those 8 years. Made it way easier. And then it was even accelerated 2020 when my first daughter was born after having kids. You learn so much about you. It's like this deeper layer of inner work. It's endless, and it's beautiful, and it's awesome. And I also want to say, with back to the putting people on a pedestal, I'm also not perfect here, and I can still fall into ego traps. The one thing, though, that I found helped me the most, and still helps me the most, and I take my clients through this in the mentoring, is I have this death meditation. It's a guided death meditation, where you sink into the perspective that you died. Now, this can sound dark and morbid, but it brings up very valuable data. So realize that all of us, we lie to ourselves all the time. Even in terms of things that we disown within us, you're lying to yourself. You're living in denial. There's 2 worlds. So we lie to ourselves because we think it's for the greater good to keep ourselves alive. Well, if you're able to convince yourself that you died, you no longer have to lie to yourself to survive because you're dead. And a lot more authentic data surfaces. So I do this death meditation once a month. And it's a good way for me to check if my ego snuck in the back door. Or if there's any major life decision, I'm like, do I go here, do I do that? What's the right decision? Let's do the death meditation and find out. And that, for me, is a good audit to just keep it in check, because the ego will always seep in after you get a...
So the death meditation is just like perspective?
It's a deep... Yeah, it goes really deep, and every word in it's calculated. I'm very good at poking on different things, and I crafted it quite well. But yeah, it's one that makes you reflect on what if you were to die right now, and reflect on your life and on you, and if there's a second chance, and see what comes up. And yeah, the ego will sneak in once you get a bit of inspiration. Like, you've all had it. You start off, I mean, even myself, right? Even in 2010 when I started teaching, my intentions were to help people. So when I'd put a video out, it was, does this help people? Yes or no, put it out. But later on, as it blew up, before that scandal, when I'd post a video towards the end, it wasn't, will this help people? It's, will this get comments? Will this get likes? Will this shock people and get reactions? Will I have an impact on them? Whether negative or positive, I just want an impact. So the intention shifted, the ego got in. You'll see if you start out, it's all noble until it goes well, and then your ego makes it mean something or mean something about you. So that's where you really have to let go of it, and then you're unstoppable. But it can always be there, and it's always there in the background lurking. Right, even here, I still do audits with myself. Is there an ego? Is there an ego? And then like, I have the tools and I can drop it. And a good audit is ego equals effort. The more effort, the more you're run by your ego. Even in terms of self-protection, the more of a heaviness, the more you say, do I look okay? Is what I'm saying okay? Is this okay? The less relief you feel, the more there's the ego. And that's where you can ask yourself questions similar to some of the breakdowns up here in front, which is, well, what am I hiding? What am I afraid people will see? Why can't I just be me? What's so bad about being me? Just being real, just putting it out there, and just this. And also you'll see ego with effort. It's the same with protection. You're ultimately living in this very competitive state, you versus, right? Like old me, if I came up to give a speech, it would never be relaxed like this. Or even if I'm intense, it would never be the same texture of intensity. It was always me versus the audience, where I'd walk in the room and I would assume you're all against me, or you're all looking for weakness within me, or you're all looking for, let's see how this guy's not as good as he thinks he is. And every time the mindset was, okay, let's do a great speech, I gotta show them that I'm a good coach. And it was very combative, and it would put me in stress, and I'd be, do they like me? Like even if you're staring, it'd be like, what are they thinking? Oh, are they judging? What are they thinking of me? Like it was terrible. As opposed to, no, you're on the same team, relax. It's all good. And the same with there's nothing to hide. It's like, hey, this is me, I'm human, I'm not perfect. What you see is what you get. Oh, all the relief. Imagine if you take the other approach. Everyone, I never get triggered. Only you, peasants. Imagine now, just by saying something like that, which is, funny enough, a lot of old school spiritual teachers. It's, we are enlightened. Do like me if you want enlightenment. But imagine the pressure you now put on yourself. Because now, what is it? I'm just like a second away of like snapping, and then my whole brand's ruined. Now I have to always hide. I'm never triggered, but even though I am, now it's a front. Now I have to hide it. Look, I'm never triggered, hide it. No, I still get triggered. Now there's relief. So same with yourself. Whatever's causing you so much pressure, just put it out there, and you realize it's never that bad, and then it's just full relief. It's like, oh, I can just be me. And people are on my side. Why do I assume they're out to get me? And even if they are, even if there's the occasional one, it's always the exception. And just as we talked about before, if some bad thing's gonna happen, might as well enjoy the ride there. Same here. If it's a smaller percentage of people who are out to get you than those who are on your side, it's better to assume they're all on your side. Doesn't mean be naive. Yeah, look for the signs. If there's red flags, beware. But always assume the best. And then, I guess the last thing is, never underestimate, too, the power of frames. Key. There's different frames. Now, people use this in toxic ways. For example, if I were to ask you, why are you trying so hard right now? Why? You're trying so hard, why? What did I do? I imposed a frame. The frame is, she's trying hard. Now, whatever you respond buys into the frame and reinforces it. Why are you trying so hard to be cool right now?
I'm not.
Bought into the frame. Get it? So people impose this. Why are you so negative? It's like imposing frames. People also do this with gaslighting, beware. So a lot of it are these frames. Now there's negative frames and positive ones. One is, you're out to get me. Now you don't have to verbally say it, as we talked about. There's the layers of communication. It's in the intention. But the other one is more so, no, I assume the best. Boom, and then you act aligned with that, and you'll see people will adapt on to different frames. And if someone's gonna adapt on, I'd rather them adapt on to a healthy, beneficial frame that's win-win than the opposite. Same with just general frames of being. If you think of this event, a lot of it too is me going first. It's, hey, here's me. Hey, how's it going? Authenticity. And then it rubs off on you. But for me to do that, I have to have that assumption too. It's like we're all on the same team. We're just a bunch of individuals who gathered in this room who want to learn more about ourselves, live a more fulfilling life, and just exchanging notes, networking around, listening to someone talk, another person talk, and just gaining the value. Why make it mean something that it isn't? Why let your ego hijack it and say, instead of that, instead of just a bunch of people sharing notes, no, this is the Julien event. It's not about you, it's about me and how good I look right now on stage. No, it doesn't mean anything. Same with any of you. If you're coming in like, this isn't about Julien, it's about me and my experience at the Julien event. No, it's just, be more relaxed about it. No, it's just an event. You won't leave here more enhanced. You'll learn things, you'll get a good direction, there's still work to do. But no, don't turn it into this twisted, egoic story. Same with me, it's like I'm not enhanced. It doesn't matter how many claps or approval I get, I'm still me. And ultimately that's the ideal. It's no matter what, you're just you. Hey, you're so great. What's your answer? I'm just me. Hey, you suck. I'm just me. That's it, I'm just me. Oh, it's so amazing you did that. Thanks, I'm just me. Nothing enhances, nothing diminishes. Now, it still means enjoy that, by all means. Go for it, enjoy the texture, but don't make it mean something about you. In the end, it comes down to that. Younger versions of you made different events that might have been fucking terrible, mean something about you, and a part of you has been hanging on to those meanings your entire life, and it's keeping you stuck here today. And that's why letting go is the way.